okay? So I'm giving you a chance to join issue, all right? I heard Crystal say that the plant in 1978 cost $1 billion. Did you mean to say $1 billion in 2007 dollars, 2009 dollars?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My apologies. I should make that clear.
It really was $1 billion in today's dollars?
Yes. It was something like $100 million.
And didn't you also say that France is building these plants? And are you referring, if in your case, for $1 billion to the same plant he's talking about, under the same regulations? Are you giving us a cost for a reprocessing plant or for one of these old plants you're not going to build? No, I think I know the answer. Yeah.
The French plants actually are reprocessing plants. France is really a huge. Oh, sorry.
No.
France is a reprocessing country. That's essentially what all of their plants are. And so this $1 billion is reprocessing plants. He's referring to Generation 4 reactors, which are a certain type of reprocessing plant that the affirmative is not necessarily defending. Our plan just stipulates that it has to be some form of reprocessing or recycling plant, which could include, what France is currently using.
Okay. Are there questions? We're really in pretty good shape. I'd kind of like it if it was directed to the affirmative, but it doesn't have to be. Anyone?
I want to take one more shot at the same bite of the apple, because I've got exactly the same questions in my mind, and I still feel like I'm sitting over here flipping a coin a little bit, mentally speaking. It's really two simple questions in my view. With respect to the question of commercial viability of reprocessing plants, I return to where I started, which is that we have none online now. The regulatory system in the United States is different. The cost of the French, it sounds like we're moving to, we can agree, is cheaper than in the United States, or at least y'all stipulate at least that. But y'all are the ones that initiate in the first speech, as I recall, the argument about regulatory costs in the U.S. and the NRC pumping up the cost of the process. And on the other hand, like I said earlier, all this wind and solar stuff sounds real environmentally friendly and all that kind of thing. And I still have no clue how long it takes. T-Boone can step out there and lead the charge himself personally. And I have no idea how long it's going to take us to get from a wind farm from Amarillo to North Dakota, or a solar development, or how much it costs, or anything of that nature. Y'all may want to save that and address it in a rebuttal speech, which is fine with me, I don't know, but I'm trying to compare how these two wash out against each other, and I don't feel like I can do that yet.
It probably needs to be Javid. Can you take that?
Yeah.
Javid? Go ahead, and then we'll move over here.
Okay. In regards to the commercial viability of reprocessing facilities, the reprocessing facilities that are currently, built that you talk about in the United States that are offline, they need work. Basically, the way that they were constructed was not necessarily the best reprocessing plan, but modern technology has advanced us to the point where we can create these plants, commercially viable reprocessing plants, based on models such as that used in France. And the price wouldn't be much higher. Like, granted, the NRC might have some increase in regulatory costs of construction, but it wouldn't be $9 billion worth of regulation. So at the point at which the plant itself that we're proposing to look into is about $1 billion to create, even if you take into account slight increase because of NRC regulations, they would still be greatly commercially viable and have not near $10 billion.
Okay. Guys, do you have?
I guess it probably should be either Andrew or Jacob.
Andrew.
Oh, if you like it.
Is this the rebuttal that starts?
No. This is,
He had a
Oh,
question.
okay, so
The question went both directions, so I was giving them one more shot, and then I think we probably will do the rebuttals.
Well, thank you.
Unless there's other questions. You do? Great. We'll do that. We've got time. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deathridge. I have an opportunity to address this before the rebuttal, so I save some time. Well, there's three really important reasons why renewables will be a lot different than trying to solve global warming through nuclear. First of all, you can start putting shovels in the ground today. It's not that they won't have a plant built till 2025. They can't put a shovel in the ground till 2025 because the designs aren't ready yet. The kind of plants they built have never been built anywhere in the world. They would have to develop them. Their own evidence, this ambiguous Pomper figure that we cite, but they do actually cite him in their affirmative, says it'll take that long. Additionally, renewables are 3 to 4 times more cost effective. So every dollar you spend on nuclear is essentially wasting money because you could be using that money to save a lot more emissions by spending it on renewables. Additionally, renewables don't have any of the externalities associated with nuclear power plants that always going to increase their costs in the long run. The societal costs will always be higher than the cost of renewables. And on the issue of this is a feasible thing, RPS is I guess I'll get that to that later.
Okay. You have a question?
Just a quick loose end on behalf of
Okay, sure.
Brother Brewer here, who is after all our boss.
Indeed.
I think I'm going to invite the affirmative to comment on the claim by the negative. It goes back to Bill's question about the evidence that with this unfunded mandate for renewables that they're going to do, they can hit these targets in 2017 and 2027 and 2037. And you've been notably silent as that's been vexing me. You've allowed me to carry the full weight of that argument for you. And you haven't embraced it. Do you want to reject it? And what do you have to say about their evidence where they quote a person, I know, right, as saying that these targets can be hit, and in the way they talk about it?
Yeah. One way to look at the targets would be to compare the installed base in terms of not just technology but experts that exist. For nuclear reprocessing, other countries are already doing it. And first of all, we're not defending Generation 4 that they refer to. That would require all that time. We're referring to the ones that are right now. And it's not anything.
He's asking about RPS, though.
All right.
He's asking about RPS.
And so what, if you compare then RPS and this, look at the renewable energies that they're talking about. Some of them have to be developed even further, and so you could talk about future generations of their type of technology that would have to be developed to reach efficiency of those levels. And so we already have our installed base. We already have the experts and the designs. We just need to get through some regulations and then implement it. They have to come up with much more. And they also don't, they also have to allocate all of those new experts and new studies and the costs involved in just providing the human capital as well towards these projects, towards renewable projects, would also figure into the entire cost, the social cost.
Have they worn you out? No. We're still after.
Well, maybe we can just do this in the rebuttals, but or in the final presentations. But clearly, most of us on the panel are struggling with feasibility, where both sides concede the need, and now the point of departure is who's got the better solution. And I would suggest that if you want a judge to push a ballot in your favor, that in the next few moments that you address that in your final arguments, because feasibility seems to be the issue and the point of departure, and perhaps approach each other's evidence and whether or not that evidence really speaks to the points for which it's been cited. Okay?